Visuals of Yemen, showing desert landscapes, military footage, humanitarian aid workers, and civilians amidst the conflict. The Yemen Civil War, one of the most devastating and complex conflicts of the 21st century, has plunged the country into a humanitarian disaster. In this video, we will explore the full history of the conflict, its roots, the current situation, and the key players involved on both sides. Historical background. Old footage of Yemen before the war. Leaders such as Ali Abdullah Saleh and the unification of North and South Yemen. To understand the Yemen Civil War, we need to look back at Yemen's complex history. Yemen was once two separate nations, North Yemen and South Yemen. The two countries unified in 1990 under the leadership of President Ali Abdullah Saleh, but political instability and poverty continued to plague the nation. Yemen's diverse geography and tribal divisions. Yemen's political landscape has long been marked by tribalism, regional divisions, and external interference. This laid the groundwork for the conflict that would erupt in the 21st century. The Arab Spring, showing protests across Yemen in 2011. In 2011, inspired by the Arab Spring, Yemeni citizens took to the streets to protest against corruption and economic woes. After intense pressure, President Saleh stepped down after more than 30 years in power, handing the presidency to his deputy, Abdrabbu Mansour Hadi. Start of the civil war. Protests, Saleh stepping down, and rise of the Houthis. The civil war officially began in 2014 when the Houthi rebel movement, a group rooted in northern Yemen's Yazidi Shia minority, seized control of the capital, Sana'a. Discontent with President Hadi's leadership, they were joined by forces loyal to former President Saleh, who sought to regain influence. Houthi forces taking over Sana'a and President Hadi fleeing to Saudi Arabia. The Houthis, supported by Iran, declared control over large parts of the country, while President Hadi fled to Saudi Arabia. This was a major turning point, as Saudi Arabia formed a coalition of Arab states to restore Hadi to power. In March 2015, Saudi-led airstrikes began, marking the start of a prolonged and devastating war. Saudi LED coalition and foreign intervention, Saudi jets, airstrikes, destruction in Yemeni cities. The Saudi-led coalition, consisting of Gulf states like the UAE, Kuwait, and Bahrain, intervened with the goal of reinstating the Hadi government. They launched airstrikes and deployed troops, believing that a swift victory over the Houthis was possible. The coalition has been backed by the United States, the United Kingdom, and France, providing logistical and military support. Map showing military fronts in Yemen. But instead of a quick victory, the war became a brutal stalemate, causing massive civilian casualties and infrastructure destruction. Urban centers such as Sana'a and Hodeidah have seen intense fighting, while millions of Yemenis have been displaced. Bombings, destroyed homes, and civilians. Humanitarian crisis. Footage of starving children, refugee camps, and humanitarian aid workers. The war in Yemen has created one of the world's worst humanitarian crises. The blockade imposed by the Saudi-led coalition, combined with ongoing fighting, has left millions without food, medicine, or basic supplies. Statistics on malnutrition, cholera outbreaks, and the impact on children. Over 24 million people, 80% of Yemen's population, require humanitarian assistance. Famine, cholera outbreaks, and lack of medical care have claimed tens of thousands of lives, and the conflict continues to push millions towards the brink of starvation. Who are the Houthis? Houthi leaders, flag, and military operations. The Houthi movement originated as a Yazidi Shia revivalist group in the 1990s but has since evolved into a major political and military force in Yemen. Their motto is "God is great, death to America, death to Israel, curse the Jews, and victory for Islam," reflecting their anti-Western and anti-Saudi ideology. Houthi fighters and Iranian military support. Iran has been accused of providing the Houthis with weapons, including ballistic missiles and drones, to counter Saudi Arabia's influence in the region. The Houthis have fired missiles into Saudi Arabia and the UAE, further escalating tensions across the Gulf. Missiles fired from Yemen hitting Saudi oil facilities split among Saudi coalition allies. UAE-backed Southern separatists and the Southern Transitional Council. Meanwhile, within the Saudi-led coalition, divisions have emerged. The UAE, once a key player in the coalition, began backing the Southern Transitional Council (STC), a group seeking independence for southern Yemen. This has created a war within a war, as southern separatists now clash with forces loyal to President Hadi. Fighting between southern separatists and Hadi's government forces, the UAE has reduced its role in the war, focusing more on its interests in southern Yemen and controlling key strategic ports, such as Aden and Socotra Island. Current situation, 2024. Current battlefronts, military operations, and ongoing diplomatic efforts. As of 2024, the Yemen Civil War shows no signs of resolution. The Houthis control large parts of northern Yemen, including the capital, Sana'a. The Saudi-led coalition has struggled to regain significant ground, despite continuous airstrikes. In 2023, there were renewed diplomatic talks between Saudi Arabia and the Houthis, but a lasting peace deal has yet to be achieved. Ongoing ceasefire talks, footage of UN peace talks, allies and supporters. Let's take a closer look at the key players and allies in the Yemen conflict. Houthis allies. Iran provides military support and weapons to the Houthis, strengthening their position against Saudi Arabia. Lebanon's Hezbollah is believed to provide tactical support to the Houthis. Saudi-led coalition allies. Saudi Arabia leading the coalition and providing air power. UAE was initially part of the coalition, now backing southern separatists, STC, but still fighting the Houthis. United States, UK, France provide intelligence, logistical support, and arms sales to Saudi Arabia. Global impact and future outlook. Global protests, refugee crises, and rising oil prices linked to the conflict. The Yemen conflict has had global implications, from oil prices being affected by attacks on Saudi infrastructure to the refugee crisis spreading to neighboring countries. With regional and global powers involved, the war in Yemen remains a complex puzzle with no easy solution. Thank you for watching. We have some amazing videos coming up, so stay tuned for more updates on global geopolitics. And make sure to hit the subscribe button for more.